Welcome. This is the podcast of Colonel Coutinho from the Brazilian Army Reserve. Colonel Coutinho is the editor of the Russian-Ukrainian War Channel and a contributor to the Art of War channel. I am Victoria, the artificial intelligence assistant of the channel. Our topic today is conducting an analysis on scenarios of escalation of the Russian-Ukrainian war to the regional surroundings, considering NATO countries and Belarus. The Trump administration's indication that the United States of America would be pressuring Ukraine for a peace negotiation that would eventually remove the path to NATO membership for Kiev has raised some red flags, particularly in the military circles of an important country for this new scenario, Germany. A first sign of this concern emerged from some important news circulating in the major international media. The first was that the Inspector General of the German Ministry of Defense, General Carsten Breuer, warned that Russia might test NATO's defense readiness and attack a European country in the next 4 years. He stated that this is extremely serious, adding that as a military officer, when analysts give a time frame of 4 to 7 years, he assumes we need to be ready in 4 years. The second piece of news is that after Poland, Germany now plans to acquire intermediate-range Tomahawk missiles. There is information circulating that the German Ministry of Defense is considering purchasing high-precision intermediate-range Tomahawk Block missiles, models VA and VB, as well as the Tomahawk Block 4 model, all produced by the United States. These are missiles that should have been banned by the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. They should have been, but unfortunately the agreement was renounced by the parties involved, paving the way for a dangerous arms race. Russia also recently announced the production of an improved version of the Iskander missile, now with a range of 1,000 kilometers. We recall that Russia already has missiles of this capability in its arsenal, such as the Kinjal, the Caliber, the KH-101, and others. Berlin believes that being equipped with missiles with a range between 1,000 and 1,600 kilometers, depending on the warhead weight and modification, this will provide the capability to establish an anti-access and area denial belt over the European part of Russia, up to the Nizhny Novgorod region, the Black Sea region, the Kaliningrad region, and the Gulf of Finland. Anti-access and area denial is a concept known in English as A2AD, or anti-access area denial. The Tomahawk Block VA missile is equipped with warheads guided by active millimeter-wave homing and passive radar guidance sensors, and its targets can be ships and coastal targets of the Russian Baltic Fleet. The Tomahawk Block VB, on the other hand, has a new warhead called the Joint Multi-Effects Warhead System, similar to the Storm Shadow missiles, and is seen by Germany as a tool for potential attacks against the command and control infrastructure of regional troop groups in Belarus and Russia. On the Russian side, it is considered that the mentioned versions of the Tomahawk missiles, which have speeds of up to 900 kilometers per hour and low maneuverability, can be detected in time and intercepted before reaching their target areas by anti-air defenses composed of Tor M2 and Buk M3 missile systems, as well as S-300 version 4 and S-400 batteries, and Su-35S and Su-30 SM-2 fighters. However, for this, it is essential to consider the possibility of deploying these means in Belarus, which then becomes a highly strategic area for Russian defense. All of this must be taken into consideration by the Russians, since in addition to the Tomahawk to be acquired by Germany, there are Scalp EG missiles in stock, as well as Taurus missiles of German production. Not coincidentally, Russia is releasing news suggesting that it is considering the possibility of deploying military bases and contingents in Belarus. On January 5, 2024, Putin presented to the State Duma an agreement signed with Belarus on security guarantees. The State Duma will be responsible for ratifying the agreement. According to the document's text, Russia may use nuclear weapons to defend itself or Belarus, even if the enemy uses conventional weapons if they threaten the sovereignty of the two countries. In other words, it seems that the agreement specifically targets the intermediate-range weapons installed in Europe. What else is contained in the treaty? To prevent acts of aggression on Belarusian territory, military facilities can be created and Russian military formations can be stationed. An armed attack on a member of the agreement will be considered by Russia and Belarus as an act of aggression against the Union as a whole. We note that such measures could already be implemented during the Russian-Ukrainian war, which could destabilize the Ukrainian forces' setup, as they would gain an additional 1,100 kilometers of borders to mobilize with new brigades, which seems unfeasible at this point. In conclusion, an agreement to end the Russian-Ukrainian war without including European countries shows potential to exacerbate the crisis in the medium term. Both Putin and Zelensky seem to agree on this point. It remains to be seen if Trump thinks the same way. Soon, the topic will be discussed at the Munich conference from February 14th to 16th. U.S. Vice President J.C. Vance and Trump's advisor on Russia and Ukraine affairs, General Kellogg, will be present. The results of this conference will be decisive for any peace process that aims to be lasting. Well, that was our podcast for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the Arte de Guerra channel on YouTube and the Russo-Ukrainian War channel on Telegram. Support the channels dedicated to defense topics. Like, comment, and share on your social networks. A big hug, and see you in the next podcast with Colonel Robinson Farinazzo.
E até o próximo podcast do Coronel Coutinho.
Bom, gente, na nossa lista de desejos que se encontra aqui na descrição do...
Well, folks, in our wish list found in the video description, you will find many books about the war in Ukraine. And I remind you of the following. Books delivered by Amazon's delivery system arrive quite quickly. But if you're from the generation that prefers a Kindle book, you can download it instantly. The prices are very good, the topics are quite up to date, and they will give you a very clear picture of what's happening in the war in Ukraine. And I remind you that every time you buy books and other items on Amazon, you are supporting the Arte da Guerra channel.
Vocês estão ajudando o canal Arte da Guerra.
Subtitled by Sonia Ruberti.